guys, welcome to Kenganda. I'm your girl Joanita, and on today's episode, we are on the couch with
King Obutunda.
So King Obutunda is going to tell us why the name King Obutunda.
So I chose King Obutunda the first time I came to Uganda. After some time, I kind of lived off of Obutunda and some other foods. But for everybody who don't know, Obutunda is passion fruit juice,
Yeah,
and that was like my favorite thing next to water. So that's pretty much why I chose the name.
yeah, it's that simple. It's not complicated as we were thinking. So we're going to jump right into the question. Do you think African Americans deserve citizenship in Africa?
To a degree, yes, and I'll elaborate more. Not everybody, but there are many African Americans who are very hardworking and are deserving. And many of us would like to leave our country and to return home to Africa. And many of us are under the impression that Africa is very open and welcoming. So I would really enjoy or would like to have a citizenship, as soon as I get here. But that's not, necessarily the reality.
Okay. We do have some Africans who say, fine, African Americans can come and visit the continent, but they do not have to stay. What do you say about that?
I don't agree with that, but at the end of the day, it's just all opinion. But like I try to remind people that my ancestors were taken from Africa. We didn't leave by choice. We didn't, volunteer our services to go build another country for free. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, the best of Africans were taken. It wasn't homeless people. It wasn't poor people, beggars and thieves and all of that. They took our kings, they took our queens, they took our nurses, our doctors, everything, the best of our best, and then brought them over to America, worked them like dogs until they pretty much died, and kept that cycle going for hundreds of years. So I do believe that the children of those ancestors deserve a right to be able to return home to a degree.
Okay. Well, to add on to that, what do you think? There are some Africans who also say, you guys coming to Africa is increasing the population. That's saying already the resources in Africa are not that many, and when you increase the population in Africa, it's just going to deplete all resources that are available.
I can say this. There are many Africans who don't even have access to the resources that are here in their own country. And on top of that, you're allowing other people like Indians, Chinese, and Europeans to come here to take those resources. Allowing Africans who were once a part of the continent to have access to those same resources would benefit Africans and Africans abroad. Put it like this: we built America. Slavery built that country, which is now a superpower today. That same energy can be taken and brought right here to the motherland, and we can rebuild Africa to where it once was in its prime.
Okay, that's insightful. We do have some religious leaders who are actually saying the African Americans who are coming into Africa bringing with them their culture and their norms, something that doesn't sit right with some African leaders.
I'm sure. And at the end of the day, a lot of African leaders aren't even doing what's best for their own people. So for them to speak on what's best for Africans or for Africans abroad, I just feel like, that's just their personal opinion based off of something that they know could potentially be bad for them because they have built business off of corruption within their own countries. So for the African leader to say that, oh, we don't want these people to come here, they might, cause crime or crime rates might go up or, a lot of bad or negative things might happen. I mean, that's just pure speculation. What evidence do these people have, to say such a thing? You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay, when we say deserve, do you think it is that right? Should they just come to the continent and just become Africans, or do they also have to work and go through a certain process to get their citizenship?
I believe they should have to go through a screening process of some kind. Nobody should just be able to just pop up and say, "Hey, I'm home. Where's my house at?" You know what I mean? That I don't believe that at all. But I do believe that there should be some kind of process for people like myself who have skills, who have knowledge, who have access to certain types of information or certain connections, even, and be able to bring those resources to Africa to engage with Africans and build with Africans. I believe there should be some kind of stipulations for that and not just have Africans abroad come to Africa, build their business and then send all that money back to their family abroad. You know what I mean? The purpose of me saying us come back home is so that we can build together. It's not to single my people out or the descendants of Africans out versus, Africans on the continent. You know what I mean? I would like for my people to come here and have their own tribe because that tribal history was lost to us, but that's just not a reality. So I would like to be included, you know what I mean? And when I say deserve, I don't really mean it as though I'm entitled. I mean it as though I work hard. I'm not a criminal. You see what I'm saying? I've never been arrested. I don't have any kind of drug history or any kind of criminal history at all. So it's not like I'm bringing something from America here, nothing negative at least. I am bringing something, but nothing negative. And that should be a part of the screening process. So that's what I mean by deserve. You know what I mean? Like for somebody like myself who has worked hard, served the country, and done some constructive things with my life, I should be able to come back home and build with my people.
Okay. When we say citizenship, what are your expectations? What do you expect of that citizenship?
I expect to no longer be looked at as a foreigner or an American or a Mzungu or any of those things. I want to be an African.
Yeah.
That was my goal since I was a child, all the way up until the day I die. I just want to be African. Everywhere else in the world, I'm either black or I'm an American, I'm a Yankee, I'm a this, I'm a that. Why can't I just be African? That's all I ask.
Okay, that's lovely. Which country in Africa do you relate to the most? Which country is your home?
As of right now, Uganda. And I'm a bit biased on this because I spent so much time here.
Yeah.
But I have not been to many other African countries, so I can't really say for sure which country I relate to the most. But the country that I experienced the most love so far and the most positivity has been here in Uganda.
Okay, okay, that's lovely. So after you get the citizenship, what next? What comes after you getting that citizenship, if it is given to you? If it's given to any African American out there, what happens
Starting
next?
a business. Starting a business and creating opportunities for other Africans here who are lacking those opportunities, basically. That is the number one goal that any African American who are coming back to the continent should be looking towards, in my opinion. We should not be coming here to compete for jobs. We need to come here to bring opportunities. We left our country competing in the European industry. Now we need to come back to the African industry and produce, not compete.
Yeah. Okay, that's really nice. You guys should come here and set up your businesses. When you get the citizenship, what do you, because the standard of living or the way of living in America is not the way of living in Africa. Because you guys in America have all these financial services that are at your disposal. You have credit cards, you have the debit cards, you know, the loans and whatnot. And then when you come to Africa, everything is cash. You either have the money or you don't. There is no, I'll use a credit card. There's nothing. So how do you think that would actually affect you in your?
It wouldn't affect a lot of us because a lot of Black Americans already use a cash system, especially people who grow up in impoverished neighborhoods and things like that, who live by the streets and all of that. Most of these people deal with cash on a day-to-day basis because number one, they don't trust banks because those are European constructs.
Yeah.
So they don't trust putting their money into the hands of a European when there's no guarantees of anything. Number two, a lot of people hustle. And when you hustle on the street, your income is cash. It's cash based. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and if you want to avoid, being scrutinized by the government, IRS, or other entities like that, most people just deal in cash. So a lot of us are not going to be, surprised by that. You know what I mean? When we get here, that's going to be something easy to adjust to. That's why I was so able to adjust to it so quickly because that's something I'm familiar with, dealing with a cash base. Plus, I don't really trust using my card outside the country because there's so many different ways for people to scam you, and they got card readers and RFID readers and all of that other stuff. So I'd rather use cash. You know what I mean? All I got to do is learn the current exchange and how y'all, manage your money and everything, how y'all do stuff, and learn how the locals price things.
Yeah.
I'm good to go.
Okay. You do know when you come to Africa, you actually have to pay some taxes.
Yes.
And those taxes may not be used for the people's benefit. Like, let's say there's a powerful politician out there who's going to use the taxes for his own benefit. How do you feel about that? Are you actually making money to pay taxes and these taxes are not being used for the rightful purpose?
That does bother me, and that is actually why a lot of African Americans now are really skeptical about coming back to Africa because we see so much of this political corruption, and a lot of us afraid if we put our money into this, will this person just come by and just take it all, through taxes and then buy a brand new Bentley truck or something like that. So it is something that I am paying attention to, and it is something that I'm trying to find ways to get around. And it is ways to get around it. Is you really have to be smart about the business that you do, who you conduct business with, and where you put your money. You know what I mean? Since you said everything is really cash based, if I have to deal with taxes and I know I have a tax coming up, I'm gonna go ahead and separate that cash and put that, somewhere else, and then have my profit for my business in a different area, so I don't have to worry about somebody, coming to take my money and all of that. But it's kind of unavoidable at the moment. But the more research I do and the more information I learn, the more I'll be able to understand how I can save myself some trouble. You know what I mean, by avoiding that tax.
Okay. And do you think most African Americans are going to come with their family to Africa, or they're going to come as individuals to Africa and form families in Africa?
That I can't really say honestly, because I know that people who have families, they're going to take a longer time to come to Africa versus people who don't. But what I will say is this: people who do have families, more than likely, if they're, I'm not going to say if they're smart, but what will be a smart thing to do, more than likely, if you do have a family, come here without your family first, so you can see what it's like here, and then find out what is necessary for your family to come over here, and find out how your family can survive here as well. Because what you guys do at in your countries is different from what people do here. So if you have your family here, for example, in Uganda, there's a lot of roads that don't have sidewalks. So if you're scared to walk with your child on the street, that's something you might want to consider before you come to Uganda. So it's just, come here, find out what you need to know, how you can live your life and how you can benefit and everything, and then make that decision before you get here. Don't just show up and then be like, oh my God, what is all of this? You know what I mean? And you start
Yeah.
freaking out because that's a waste of money and a waste of time.
Okay. Guys, do forgive us about the dog, but yeah. The last question that I think everyone wants to now know: do you actually have citizenship in Uganda?
Not yet, but I am working on it.
You're in the process
I
of
am in the
getting it.
process of getting it. It is an extensive process. It's not an expensive process. Depending on the route that you go, it can be, but it also, you can find ways of getting around that too. But legal ways, excuse me. You can find legal ways of getting around that. But right now, I'm getting married to a Ugandan woman, so my process is going to be simpler than other people's process because marriage is very easy. It's a lot less money involved and things like that. But if you come here on a student visa or a resident visa or work visa, those might be more expensive for you, when you enter the country. Plus, there are other stipulations that you have to follow in order to come in on that visa. Like you might have to apply for it before you get here. You can't just arrive and say, "Hey, I'm a student. I want the student visa." It doesn't really work like that. So for me, it's way more simple than other people.
Okay. Thank you so much, King Obutunda. I do hope you get your citizenship, guys.
I hope so
And I
too.
do hope any other African American out there who wants to get citizenship actually gets the citizenship in whichever country they do want to go to. So, all right, guys, that has been it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Do follow us on our Instagram pages. Hit the bell for notifications. I'm your host, Janita. Till next time.